Our next speaker has been an active South Countyan his whole life. Born and raised in Charlestown, he later earned his degrees in civil engineering and business administration from the University of Rhode Island. He spends his free time with his family and his dogs in the salt ponds, quahogging and fishing. Speaking tonight about the importance of volunteering within your community, please join me in welcoming Kenny Burke to the stage.
Thank you, and good evening. My name is Kenny Burke, and I'm a volunteer. So throughout my whole life, it's all been about me and my interests, but more recently I've taken a different path, a path that's more focused on the community, a path that I find is very much rewarding, more rewarding. So my volunteer path has been kind of like an adventure, full of discovery and self-adjustment. Okay, so basically, this is how I see myself. It's making an improvement in the community just one step at a time, and this is what volunteerism means to me. Just constantly picking away at it. So we're all born into this world the same way, needing some support from our family, our friends, and occasionally support from volunteers. As a kid, I didn't really grow up feeling compelled to volunteer, but I did have some unique ideas of what volunteers might look like. And very generally speaking, they looked like this. So I was a kid, undiagnosed ADHD, OCD, fueled by Kool-Aid and bologna sandwiches. And I thought that the super friends were always around the corner, but I could just never find them. But I did know some real people that inspired me, and essentially they were volunteers. So Mr. Tobin, Mr. Dipolino, you guys coach a group of unruly kids, and you really inspired us as far as what volunteers were. You were our superheroes, essentially. So a decade later, I enlisted in my first act of volunteerism. So Drill Instructor Sergeant Parker, you kicked my ass, and I'm forever grateful because I felt proud. I felt like I was starting to give back to the community. Later volunteer efforts were pretty much inspired by my family, driving the kids around the minivan, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, basketball, soccer coaching. It was all about my family, and that was okay because we benefited from it generally. When I started volunteering at work, things started getting weird, okay? I started volunteering for the coffee club. I organized holiday parties, volleyball, softball leagues. I actually started a soccer league during the '94 World Cup. And again, it was all my colleagues and I that benefited. And throughout the years, I've continued to run a men's soccer league. I've helped with my homeowners association. Currently, I work on a committee with Balboa Hospital, and I serve on the board for the Welcome House of South County. My path is turned where it's reflecting the needs of the community. So in my core, I'm still an individual, and I tend to always ask myself, what do you have to do to volunteer, and do you have to be normal? What the heck is normal anyways? So I'm here to tell you there really is no definition of normal for volunteers. Because when you get down to it, there's no one-size-fits-all rule for volunteerism. Everybody's unique. Everybody has their own niche. You need to find your passion or create your own opportunity. Anybody who volunteers is essentially imparting positive karma into the community. That's what it's all about. So when you volunteer, it's important to know that you've got options. Be open to different experiences, people, programs. It's an amazing feeling when you just give yourself to a worthy cause without asking for anything back. But I'd like to also consider how you should act when you volunteer. You could just go with the flow, and I've done that many times, and that works well when there's a well-run organization. However, there are other situations where just a little bit of anarchy might be in order. Now, I can't tell you about the anarchy methods due to ongoing litigation I'm very deeply involved in, but I can tell you that if you stir things up, you have a moral obligation to finish what you started. And I've also learned that volunteers get very passionate about what they do. And it's tough when personalities clash because, you really need to keep your ego in check. Remember why you volunteer in the first place. The charity always comes first. You should ask questions when you start volunteering. What type of legal structure do they have? How do they keep the books, the finances? What type of insurance coverages are out there? You might think that these things are already taken care of, but believe me, you need to ask sometimes. And you might also want to consider getting your family involved. And depending on your family, it could be a great decision. It could be the worst decision ever. That's really up to you. But there is no rule against having fun when you volunteer. And strategic thinking is absolutely critical. Ask about the mission statement, ask about the vision, and how does everybody pull together to ensure the success of the program. Asking questions is continuously a very, very important theme here. And if you can find a specific project that you're interested or passionate about, chances are you'll maximize your opportunity to volunteer. And remember, you can volunteer in any capacity. So I hope I haven't spooked anybody, and I would strongly encourage that you consider volunteering in your community. There are thousands of opportunities out there, and your community absolutely does need your help. So with that, I hope I've ignited your passion to volunteer in your community. Thank you.